Hello Power fans, it's Mathonical and joining me for round 3 with Burn. Our opening hand, while not exciting, is exactly 2 lands, and we'll keep it. We do want to find some kind of creature off the top so we can get into consistent damage, but we'll see how it goes. And lo and behold, we get a Lavarunner, exactly where we want to be. This means we get to have our turn 2 hasty Lavarunner to get in damage over time. Our opponent has Chromatic Sphere, which leads me to believe that they're going to be playing some sort of Fengen Marauder plan, and they do have Journey to Nowhere to get rid of a creature, so they're going to have some amount of removal. Hopefully they can't remove our Thermo-Alchemist, and we'll just run it out there. Turns out our opponent does have an Oblivion Ring, so that's gone. On our turn, we're just going to use 2 burn spells at their face, and continue to hold on to this land, because if they just play a creature, we would like to be able to play the land and win the game. Our opponent does play a creature, unfortunately it was evoked, so it doesn't stick around. Go for the Gitaxian Probe into a Lavarunner so we can get in some damage. We still don't have lethal, but if our opponent doesn't do anything, we're gonna win. Unfortunately, our opponent is on the Fengen Marauder plan, which can get very scary if they ever get that online. Here we're mainly just hoping they don't top deck some way of gaining life, because next turn we're gonna be able to get in damage and lightning bolt them, so let's see how that works. At this point, even if they play a creature, like if they play the Fengen Marauder, we're going to have to attack and bolt it just to prevent ourselves from dying to them gaining tons of life. They do have Tron online now, but thankfully we are able to get in for 2 damage and then lightning bolt them. So managed to take game 1. Let's hope we can reproduce that before they get the Fengen online. In the sideboard, we absolutely want these 2 Molten Rains to try and keep them off of Tron. 3 mana can be a little tricky to get to in a 16 land deck, but sometimes you have to get lucky. We're also going to bring in 1 Smash to Smithereens. I did consider bringing in more, but most of their artifacts do cycle anyways, and if they ever get Fengen online, it doesn't really help much to be destroying their artifacts for them. We are just going to take out the 3 Curse the Pierced Heart. While it may help us win if they get Fengen online, I'd rather just win as quick as possible and just hope it's good enough. So we'll take a look at our opening hand, and it's pretty darn good. We're going to be able to play a turn 2 Thermo-Alchemist, hopefully it survives, and because we do have this Gitaxian Probe plus Thermo-Alchemist, we're actually not going to look at their hand right away. There isn't a lot we could gain information-wise. We're not going to change our plays at all, and it's possible it might just turn out to be an extra point of damage, which may matter. So here, we're just going to play a land, we're going to suspend a Rift Bolt, and then we're going to play the Thermo-Alchemist. Molten Rain is fantastic, and we have the 3rd land for it as well. Opponent gets an Unknown Shores. They have Tron online already, and they are able to remove our Thermo-Alchemist and crack a bunch of their Chromatic Stars. Standard Bearer will buy them a bit of life, but first, we're going to just take a look at their hand, get rid of one of their lands, and that's all we can do that turn. Their hand isn't that great, except they do have the Fengen Marauder, so we're going to have to find some way of dealing with that. They also have a Journey to Nowhere, which means that this Thermo-Alchemist is not going to be around very long. Not much we can do about that. We're just going to play it anyways, and they have everything they need. So they're getting their Tron online, getting Fengen Marauder down, and cracking a Chromatic Sphere. They're also going to have this for next turn, so here we do need to try and kill their creature. Unfortunately, we are not able to. So what I did there was I pinged them for 1 to try and draw an additional card. We did need to find another bolt because we needed to do 1 bolt on the Standard Bearer and 2 bolts for the Marauder. Unfortunately, we just drew a bunch of lands, so not where we want to be. We're not out of this yet, because if we can remove that, they didn't really show much else in the way of winning the game. Although now that they have a Haunted Fengraf, it's very likely, and by very I mean like a 50% chance of them getting it back if we remove it. So we're going to keep playing for a couple more turns, but they're up to 26. We don't have our curses. Things are not likely. We'll just get in the damage where we can, and just kind of not much we can really do. They go ahead and get back their Standard Bearer to keep their Fengen alive, remove our creature, and yeah, that's the game. They're going to get in for 6 damage, but we're not going to be able to win. So we'll just go ahead and concede and jump over to game number 3. Taking another quick look at the sideboard, we are not going to make any changes. Did consider again if we're bringing in the smashes or the curses, but to be honest, we're on the play. Let's just hope we're fast enough. Well, 0 landers, not fast enough, and this should work. We are going to need to get some stuff off the top. If we can activate Lavarunner on turn 2, that would be very nice. But if not, this is probably still serviceable. Land absolutely to the bottom, and we'll just play out a Lavarunner. Fireblast. This did introduce an interesting thing we could do. We could have played the land, lightning bolt them, Fireblast them, get in for 4 with the Lavarunners. In total, that would be doing 11 damage this turn, but then we're really relying on getting in 3 attacks. So I'd really rather not. Instead, I'm just going to hold the land and sit on this Searing Blaze, hoping that they play a creature at some point and we can activate it. On our turn, like their turn, they just play a Signet. Our turn, we then suspend the Rift Bolt. This way, next turn, at the very least, we will be able to cast a Lightning Bolt and get our extra damage with the Lavarunners finally. They go for a Muldrifter Evoked, draw additional cards, we'll hit them with the Rift Bolt, and since we drew an additional land, we'll just go ahead and play one of them. They are now down to 7, so if we get one more attack in, we have won the game. If they play something to block, we do a Searing Blaze, and they have a Journey. That does make sense. So now we're back on the needing something. Lava Spike thankfully is something, so this time the top of our deck was kind to us, and we managed to get there before they could get Tron online. Awesome. We're now 3-0. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in round 4.